Hey, what's up guys, this is RSRT264 back again with another video for you guys, and today I wanted to do a more in-depth look on the Google Docs that Nano released about Sinder, a little bit about, and then go into Sinder's apology to see if she really took full accountability for her actions. The main reason I'm making this video is 2 points. Point number 1 is I didn't go into the Google Docs in my previous video discussing the subject, and number 2, a very close friend of mine who means a lot to me, who saw me at my lowest moments and I helped him go through his lowest moments, basically called me an idiot for standing up for her. And that really hurt. So I decided, you know what? I could sit here and complain, I can't believe a friend said that, or I can go, alright, you know what, fair enough, I didn't make mention of it in my previous video, let's go right into the Google Docs. So, let's check them out. Alright, here we are. This is the Nano document right here. So, the Nano hello, I'm here to share something that has affected me personally and hurt others. It is very hard for me if I feel like it. Please do not send hate towards anyone on my behalf. This is all I wanted to say. So, I'm not going to look at the comments. I'm not going to get myself fired up. Let's just go right into it. Terminating my work with Sinder. Let's open that up. Alright. Introduction and notes. I wanted to share my experiences with Sinder and Red manipulating me, using me, and dragging me into friends' drama while sabotaging, slandering, and spreading lies about other people I thought were her closest friends. Not only do I no longer want to work with Sinder, but all I wanted to share is what I've endured over the years, and shed light of what she's been doing behind other people's backs. So that's the first paragraph. Okay, a little bit interesting, Alright, they're manipulating. Okay, let's take a look into it. That's the first, okay. I struggled a lot with writing this document. I wasn't sure whether I felt experienced, I wasn't sure if I felt an experience was working or was just really burnt out. That's an odd thing to say. But I think this proves I was lied to and manipulated over the years while working with Sinder. That's a weird thing to bring up. Why would you even bring up, this might be burnout? Okay. Note, based on working with Redacted, Red, Sinder's manager over the years, I am sure they speak for each other? Okay. And there is no reason to believe that Red was acting without Sinder's consent and knowledge whenever I use they, them, or refers to both of them working as a team. That's an assumption. That's also kind of weird. Why would you just... That's an assumption, because I guarantee people don't tell each other everything. I mean, there are times where, people will tell each other, a lot, but not everything. I know that, especially in the working force, I'm sure, I'm sure they told each other a lot, but I'm sure they didn't tell each other everything. Now that's already, we're starting off on, a bad foot. It's, right here, saying that, it's they, them, or it might have just been burnout, but yeah, so right off the bat, we're already starting on a bad foot. Also, Nano is a professional and did not try to, and when Sinder and Redacted tried reaching out to her after this Google Doc dropped, she blocked both of them. And Nano is also a professional. And I believe Sinder was one of her first clients. I don't think Sinder was her first, but one of, her first clients. And she would just do this, assumingly out of nowhere. Now, I know, the full, context that Shiley, Bao, and Nano all got together, made these Google Docs, dropped them, to more or less just simply go after Sinder for no real good reason. So let's see if I can prove my point using Nano's evidence. Alright, so the most important thing that I'm going to, hook onto is I feel like I was lied to and manipulated over the years while working with Sinder. And ultimately, Sinder had manipulated me. That's why I'm going to be mainly focusing on Sinder. That is my main goal, because Sinder is the one who's gotten all of the backlash from all of this, not Red. Which to me doesn't make any sense, and I'm going to explain why in just a second. But Cinder is going to be the main individual I am focusing on. Like, I want to see evidence of Cinder being manipulative. That is what I'm looking for. So let's quickly look for it. That's Red. That's also Red. That's Red. That's Red. That's Red. That's Red. That's still not Cinder. That's still not her. Still not her. Still not her. Still not her. Ah, here we go. Here we go. We found Cinder. Alright, let's see. Cinder, I just want to say sorry for diving back on the exclusivity deal. I wanted to apologize since I've only talked about this with Red. Do I need to say anything else? So that right there debunks what Nano said. That right there debunks Nano's claim of Red and Cinder told each other everything. That right there debunks what she just said. So, let's, I get it, Nano, it was unfair to push this on you, and it's just really confusing to go back and forth about it. I get compared to her a lot, and Cinder's talking about Silverveil here. And I feel like I'm living in someone else's shadow. So this is Cinder opening up and being a little bit vulnerable about it. And, this is what Nanolist basically has to say, and what Nanolist says about it. I don't really see the point of being compared to her so much. You're already bigger, you're so much bigger already. And then Cinder says, it's not me, it's other people's opinions. I'm just trying not to get involved in any drama with people talking, comparing us, but I understand we're Korean, there are no hard feelings. Sorry, my mental is about a bit weak, same. I'm sorry for bringing this to you. I want you to get that money. So Cinder is telling Nano to go get that money. The whole situation kind of sucks and I just want to get along. Which sounds believable to me. Yeah, I would never hate you. Thank you so much. I love everything we've done together and I want to keep doing more. People say dumb shit online just makes me stressed. So, does that look like manipulation? That doesn't look like manipulation to me. That doesn't look about lying or backstabbing or... I don't get it. This doesn't look like much at all. And right here, trying to justify their being simply looking at me when none of this had anything to do with me. Where was the manipulation in these two screenshots that have Cinder, and that's my main point. What? Yeah, I didn't want to get dragged. You step back on... Nanolist stepped back on the exclusivity deal, and Cinder was okay with it. This is not manipulation. This is not lying. This is not blacklisting. This is not justifying their behavior by stating that they were simply looking out for me when none of this had anything to do with me and being manipulating me and drag. Where? Where is the manipulation, Nano? I don't see anything. Yeah, Cinder literally says this is your decision to work with whoever you want to. I don't see any manipulation here. And then you have this message from a couple of years ago, 2023. And this also proves, Nano's earlier claim of, Red and Cinder working together, because Nano reaches out to Cinder directly to ask Cinder a question. Hey, I just, Nano, what's going on with Red, mostly about this, and it's really hard to see, but it says not to discredit your work because everything you work on is incredible, but when everyone has a Nano baby, it feels less special to be one, and that, if that makes sense. It kind of getting more of the same feeling in gamer subs lately too. So what Red's saying is, the more Nano models out there, the less special they are, which doesn't really make any sense, if you really think about it. Initially, yeah, okay, but, it's supply and demand. Nano is one artist, and, there's tons of people who want her artwork and models. She is an incredible artist. She is extremely talented, but professional, No, not at all. So that's basically what Red said, and Cinder's like, I understand what he means, but it's just business. We love working with you and want to keep working in relationship. But if you prefer to work with other clients instead of me, I know it's a reason for you to help grow and not because you don't like me. What manipulation? Where's the manipulation? I don't see it. This is Cinder literally saying, oh, yeah, I understand where Red's coming from, but if you want to work with other clients, that's cool. Where's the manipulation? Where's the lies? Where's the slander? Where's going after people? Well, if it exists, it wasn't from Cinder. It's important for me to reach, job. I like working with other different people, and I never said I didn't want to work with you. I told Red about some other work, so it's important. Cinder straight up says, I think it's important for you to work on projects you're excited about. I'll go through my plans with Red and send you ideas for a possible schedule. I know he can be a little pushy sometimes. It's because he's just doing business for me and help me grow. And he absolutely loves your work. Where is the manipulation? This, to me, proves Cinder was not manipulative towards Nano. No, it's Red who was manipulated towards Nano. Okay, let's quickly take a look at that. And there's two screenshots I want to focus on with this document that I find the most important. So, let's see if I can remember which one is which. I want to say it's not that one. It's where's the screenshot? Which one was it? It was the same one used in. Where did I go? There was a weird cut made in one of these. I want to say it was at the very, very beginning. Oof. Thanks, YouTube. Here we go. This screenshot right here was also on Bao's document. And if we take a look at the one on Bao's document, you can see that there are some sentences that aren't on Nano's. Nano tampered with the evidence. Nano warped the evidence. Right here. And, on screen is obviously the unedited screenshot. And this is, I think, the first screenshot? Yeah, this is the first screenshot. So, yeah, Nano's Google Doc is filled with holes and problems. And the other one I want to go over real quick is this one right here, the screenshot. So, Nano says, Red asked me to cancel one on their closest friends, Bao, and asked me to cancel my work mid-progress, manipulating me into thinking it's okay since she has many connections, and she'll find a way, and I shouldn't feel guilty about it or worry too much, and this was really upsetting me because Red contacted specifically to check on me, canceling models if I had. So, this screenshot right here should prove that Red said, yes, cancel a model. Now, I have functioning eyes, and I think, if you're watching this video, you probably do too. So right there, did you cancel models? Not, please cancel models. Did you cancel? I did not. Nano arc delayed to 2026. I'm scared to cancel a Bao. You shouldn't be. She has many connections. She'll find someone super fast. Did you already do the outline? Did you already design her outfit? I remember showing it, yes. I'll just give it to her as a free apology gift. Am I blind or something? Am I dumb? Because Shy Lily called us Pyro Puffs dumb and blind. And what was young, naive. So if I guess I'm young and naive, I don't see any manipulation. I don't get it. This is a lot of accusations. And, there's a lot with Red. Oh, I forgot. This is great, too. So this is going over the blacklisting other creators. So let's take a quick look at that real quick, because I want to focus on one thing in particular. Right here, Nano says, and they're talking about the exclusivity deal. What about we can pay you X? You know, you don't work with all these people anymore. You're gonna do models ever again. Dun, 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 dun. And I was like, I don't know. And Red's like, well, how about we do, if someone asks you for art, tell her no, and we'll buy one for you. You can barely read it, but right here, it says, it do be fair. It do be fair, but, and you can't really see the rest of that. But I'm sure on screen I'll have the full screenshot from Bow's. Hopefully, if I remember, if I find it. It do be fair. So, I personally believe that the evidence provided by Nano does not prove Sinder or Red manipulating her, using her, or dragging her into drama. There were no sabotaging, no slandering, no spreading lies about other people. Well, it was about Shy Lily. As much as I would love to get into that right now, I really want to take a look at Sinder's apology doc. If you want to see more, I have a video linked in the description section below that really goes into detail, way better than I do, in this Google Doc, going over all the points in Nano's doc, ripping it apart to shreds. I personally just wanted to focus on, was Sinder being manipulative? No. Was Red being manipulative? Doesn't look like it. So let's move on to Sinder's apology doc to see if she took full accountability for her actions. Alright, so now let's take a look at Sinder's apology doc and see if Sinder took full accountability for her actions. Let's go for it. Alright, so this is Sinder's apology doc. Get right into it. Does Sinder take full accountability for her actions? That is the question we want to answer today. There is nothing I can say to make this better, but I will try my best to properly convey my feelings, frustrations, and mistakes. My mistakes. There's nothing I can say to make this better. The first line, she takes full accountability. Let's keep going. Let's keep going. So this is talking about Red. Red is my coworker. And going over, loss of sight and everything. And at the end, this does not absolve me of the things I have willingly done wrong, went along with, or may have treated people who were fully undeserving. And this right here, Red was the one who was the most solely, doing all the plans, negotiating through private DMs. So Nano leaked private DMs of somebody. Yeah, that sounds like a real professional right there. I digress. Dun, 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 have a lot of work, everything, time to break. I do not condone anything with what Red said about Bao in these DMs either. Him using we and R explicitly and horribly incorrect, and I believe he did this to gain greater credibility behind what he is saying. Yes, Red was initially hired, and then I honestly don't know why he thought this way, because my friend things. Going over the Just Business screenshots. November, Red was trying to convince Nano model by her, and valuable as they were, negotiating amazing skills. She understood where it was coming from, but as a VTuber in the space, it isn't something we really pursued. So she's not agreeing with what Red did, she just understands where he was coming from. Which, when you just, without thinking about it, yeah, okay, the more, nano malls are out there, it sounds like it makes sense, but it really doesn't. And that's what Sinder is, getting through. Now on to the biggest thing Sinder did, was unjustifiedly targeting Silvervale. And, right here, on the end, there's, I became unapologetically evil towards her due to no direct reaction of her own. There is no excuse for any of this. That, to me, shows taking full accountability for her actions. Right there. Oh, this is going over what Spite said, which is totally dumb. And the merch she's referring to as a design, the chain of fire to blue, the fact that the rest of the art was grayscale was the artist's choice, since it was going on the back of a hoodie and I didn't have, a say, and I didn't have any final decision in it. So, unfortunately, both Angel and Sleepy outfits, for being very similar to Spite, was done just as a coincidence, which that's how it feels. And if looking at both outfits that Spite said, hey, you copied me, the bikini one definitely wasn't. Or the Sinder, I'm just going to summarize it by saying Sinder did not copy Spite. Both outfits are similar, but not direct copies. So, and it goes into, and I really do like, that's kind of, she's my image form, more Greek Valkyrie than, biblical, which is true. It looked like Greek, Valkyrie, like battle armor, more than just a Greek outfit. So, anyways, moving on. Spy was also, I was overreacting shortly after I apologized, and then they agreed to change the character. And this is, the other thing too, was, Red bought a sex toy and was cheating with Sinder, using it instead of Sinder. And Cinder felt some kind of way about it, so she started sexting some other guy, which is true. And, I cheated on my boyfriend in these conversations, flirting and sexting. I used rain for emotional comfort and sexual fantasy when I let my real life relationship collapse. How easy would it have been for her to say, those screenshots are fake, they're not real, they're tampered with, they're this, that, and the other, that never happened, that's not even me. But no, she took full accountability for what she did. And then, by the time I was ready to debate with Cinder, I wanted to leave this in the past. Still, to this day, I regret my decisions and been living with the rest of the life. I was lucky to be able to rebuild and mend my relationship after this. So, overall, the cheating thing is null and void because Cinder and Red were able to rebuild their relationship afterward. Which is what we should all hope for, that, they learn from their, people learn from their actions, mistakes, and improve. I understand those feelings, who resent me. All I can say, I'm sorry. Talking about the Peaches thing, which I don't know a whole lot, but, you can read the whole thing for yourself. I always cherished your friendship and incredibly excited to meet you in Paris. I was grateful for everything you've done for me, and I never thought to purposely drop because I could. I am sorry. I know a lot of people feel ignored. It's easy to get caught up in projects and what I'm doing. I have the energy to do it. People fall to the wayside. I understand those who resent me over this, and all I can say, I'm sorry. I don't deserve to be able to contact anyone directly involved and apologize. And this isn't the chance to read it. She apologizes to Nano. I'm sorry for letting things get to this point. I always saw you as a close friend, and I'm sorry for what I put you through. To bow. Since the beginning, I admire how genuine you've been to everyone. I wouldn't be here without you. I've always wanted everyone around to thrive and find happiness. I can't stress out how disappointed I am. I didn't see this sooner until I got to the breaking point. I'm sorry, Val. To Sacramore. I love getting a chance to work with you in person. I can't believe Red talked to you, especially after all the effort you put. I'm sorry for everything that's happened. To Cotton and Lily. I'm so sorry for you getting dragged into this. I had no knowledge of Red Nano's DMs. I loved being your friend and all the memories we've shared. I hope someday you can forgive me and I can allow this to happen, for allowing this to happen. To Silvervale, I am so sorry for any opportunities I've taken away from you. I am so sorry, Silver. To Spite, I'm sorry assuming things the design wasn't true. I'm sorry you've been harassed by commenters needing to compare us. I apologize for the red way I spoke to you and Nano. You don't deserve any of this, Spite. To Peaches, I'd never had any real feelings, so I'm sorry. To Rain, I'm so sorry for you getting dragged into this. To the Pyro Pups and the mods for a better, example than this. I'm so sorry to the VTubing community. To someone to aspire to. I'm sorry to Kaiser, who put his heart and soul into everything. And about how I felt. There's dozens of artists. The many mistakes I've made over the 5 years. The way I've been pursuing things is not how I want to see the rest of the world move forward, and this goes to show there's a lot I need to address and improve if I'm going to continue my career. I am devastated by the friendships, so especially me, understandably, never be mended again. I love my job, I love my friends, everything I've had. Thank you for reading. Sinder took full accountability for her actions. Sinder took, in my opinion, this is a genuine apology. It's not perfect. No apology ever is, but this is a genuine apology. She put a lot of love, a lot of work into this, and in very little time. Very, very little time. Nano dropped her doc the 25th, and Sinder the 27th. 2 days. And there was several other documents. There's 7 others, which I'm not really going to get into them. Overall, they're a huge nothing burger. I highly recommend you find them and find them and read them for yourself. But for me, they're all a bunch of nothing burgers. They're dumb. They don't make any sense. They're full of holes. They only use screenshots. Nano, Bows, and Silver Rails reuse the same screenshots. So, going back to the question I had at the very beginning, right before I go into a tangent and start complaining again, so, did Sinder take full accountability for her actions? Yes. Sinder took full accountability for her actions. This is a genuine apology.
Chise. We learned a good lesson tonight, didn't we? Fake creatures are... After all, it's my duty to guide and inform you whenever possible. As my apprentice, you should be able to depend on me for such things.
He's so warm. But am I imagining it? Or does he seem a little tense? Hey! What are you doing?
It's easy to get lost in the forest. I'll carry you. Now let's go home.
In conclusion, did Sinder manipulate Nano? No. Did Sinder take full accountability for her actions? Yes. Does Sinder deserve a second chance? 1,000%. 1,000,000%. 1,000,000,000%. Sinder definitely deserves all the love that she has gotten from her Pyro Pups after this. She does deserve to be forgiven. She does deserve to be, happy. She deserves another shot at this whole thing to improve, learn, and grow. My point in making this video was to show, for the most part, these Google Docs were not made as, hey, you're messing up in life, we want you to improve, we're only doing this because we care about you. No. This was done to attack and have Sinder blacklisted from the internet, all because Shylily doesn't like Sinder. Shylily doesn't like the fact that Sinder has more pull at gamer subs, because Sinder owns 10% of gamer subs, Shylily owns 5%. Shylily doesn't like the fact that Sinder was like, oh yeah, I'm like the Charizard, the V-card, like the fire type. Shylily is a petty individual. Nano is clearly shown to be unprofessional at best, and I feel that Bao and the rest of the people who also made Google Docs were manipulated by Nano and Shy Lily. It's very disgusting. What has happened to Sinder is extremely cruel, unusual punishment, and I am looking forward to Sinder clapping back somehow. And even if that's just, who knows how long down the line, but when Sinder returns, if that's just simply coming back, telling her side of the story, and, going right back to what she was doing, playing games and having fun with her Pyro Pups, that's the thing I, miss the most from all of this, is, that kind of feeling of being a part of a community and a group, and, being with the Pyro Pups and Sinder, and, having fun together. That's what I'm looking forward to seeing again. That's what I'm looking forward to seeing again. That's the thing I miss from all of this. And I'm looking forward to seeing it again. And if I could say anything to Sinder directly, it would simply be, you got into their heads. They were so scared of you. They wanted to do everything to destroy you. And you are way stronger than you could possibly imagine. You really are. That took a lot of strength to write that. I guarantee it. What happened to you is completely unfathomable. It's like, whoa, 7 people. It took 7 people to take you down? That's how strong you are. That is how resilient you are. It took 7 people. I guess 8, if you want to throw Shy Lily in there with the other Google droppers. It took 8 people. 8 people to take you down. And you're still standing. I saw that message on Discord for your 3-year anniversary, and yes, I teared up when I was, reading that. Because it proved you really were alive. And you're still standing. You might be in, depending on if, the likelihood of ever watching this is probably 0, but, you're still standing. You're still there. You might be wrapped up in blankets and your plushie and a bed right in your bed or on a couch, hopefully relaxing and taking some time off. But you are still standing after all of this. That shows how strong you really are. And your community is still right behind you. We are still here. We're still rooting for you. We still want you to come back. We still want you to improve. We want you to be a better person because of all of this. I'm looking forward to it. You got me through a lot of hard days, and you got a lot of people through other hard days. You are so much stronger than you could possibly imagine. You really are. And I know it might feel like all your friends hate you, but they all don't. Not all of them. I guarantee there are still people who still care about you in the VTubing community space too. There are other YouTubers that have talked about you. Tux, GVP Gameplay, who I highly recommend watching his videos. Me, all the Pyro Pups in Discord, the Pyro Pup Center on Twitter. There are still people on Instagram that still care about you. We're still here. We still care about you. We still love you. We still want to see you succeed. Don't give up. You can do this. We're looking forward to it. I promise. We're still here waiting for you. So take rest. We're waiting for you to come back. So, anyways, guys, this is the Rhinus RT264. Right before this video ends, I just want to say a huge shout out to all the amazing Pyro Pups. You guys make me, feel better about what I'm doing and are a really good reminder of why I'm doing this to support Sinder. So, anyways, I just wanted to say thank you. My amigos, peace and have a great day. Glory to Sinder. Pyro Pups for life. Peace!
More of your comments. I always see so many super nice comments, and I'm glad my content has been able to help so many of you. Whether as Tashi or as Sinder, I couldn't do any of this without you. I love you guys! Bye!